Hi, I'm Brian from Atomic-Moto, and I am here to do a review on the 6D ATR-1 helmet. Now, this has been out for a few years, but it's got some really cool technological aspects to it. Really interesting ways of protecting your head. In fact, it is one of the most innovative products to hit the protective gear segment in the last 20 or 30 years. Totally new, totally cool. Lots of good stuff to talk about. We even have some cutaways here, so let's get started. Okay, first of all, some background on the company, as we always like to give you. 6D is Bob Weber and Robert Reisinger. Bob is an old motorcycle industry guy back from Connecticut. Kudos to you for that. And Robert is a mountain bike industry guy. Been around for a very long time too, very smart and very competent people. And they decided to look at helmets from a completely fresh perspective, starting with studying and understanding what happens when your head hits the ground. What they wanted to do was to create a different system of absorbing impacts, not just a derivative method of improving the Eps Liner on the inside. And so they formed this company, did all the R&D, all the testing, all of the marketing, all the setup completely from a clean sheet of paper. And that's very hard to do, and they deserve a lot more compliments than they get for starting so fresh and with such a high bar, and they've really nailed it. Let's start with some of the basics of the ATR-1 though first. So these retail for $745. This one is a carbon fiber version. It's about $100 more, $845. They come in sizes extra small through 2XL. There are 3 shell sizes. And the helmets have a fairly hefty weight for a helmet, but that's actually due to the technology. We'll get into that a little bit later. This one on my left is a medium, and it's 3.4 pounds, and this one on my right, the carbon fiber version, is about 3.3 pounds, actually 3.27, so just a little over a tenth lighter. The helmets have a long oval fit. They're very commonly compared to the fit of a Shoei that is borne out in our experience also, and they run pretty true to size using the size chart. The technology of the helmets is really though what's important, so let's get into that. Let me set up the technology and how it works, what it is and how it works. First, a little bit of background on how a helmet normally works. Now, a helmet is a 3-stage impact management system. A hard outer shell, an EPS liner on the inside to absorb the impact forces. And EPS, by the way, means expanded polystyrene or styrofoam. And then a comfort liner on the inside for moisture management, for fitment, etc. The way that helmets work is that when your head strikes the ground, your helmet strikes the ground, pardon me, your head is still moving inside. And so you need a layer of impact absorbing material that will compress and allow your head to decelerate more slowly. And that's what this styrofoam does. Now the reason that it is styrofoam instead of other types of foam is because as styrofoam compresses, it stays compressed. It doesn't store that energy up and then rebound. It just stays compressed. What Bob and Robert wanted to do was to address the increasing level of concussions that can happen from people in racing, for example, that are jumping higher, going faster, riding more aggressively, and also just to build a system for impact management inside a helmet that was more effective overall in all situations. And what they did was they studied how helmets actually behave when they hit the ground, which is very different than how they behave in a test. And what they found is that in most cases, you don't strike the ground with your helmet dead on. It's more of a glancing blow, which is called angular deflection or shear. What occurs in those situations is that the helmet, your head inside the helmet sort of twists. And so what they wanted to do was to create a system on the EPS liner, and this is much different than the one I just showed you, that has elastomers or ODS, omnidirectional system, that allows the 2 layers, there's actually 2 layers of EPS inside the helmet, to float, move, and most importantly, rotate. I'll address the rotational part first. Again, when you fall off the motorcycle, typically you're traveling forward, right? And your head strikes the ground, usually in a glancing blow. And what these elastomers, this ODS system does is allows the liners to rotate inside of each other and deal with some of the shear or angular forces. The other thing that they do is they behave a little bit like suspension. And that's the trick of designing a helmet's EPS liner like this one. You have to make it firmer to address really high impacts, and you have to make it softer to address lower impact forces, lower G forces. And it's a bit like tuning suspension, and there's no perfect way of doing it. And what this 6D ODS system does via these elastomers and the two different EPS liners is allows it to work very, very well for low impact forces via the space in between the two helmets, and then also for higher impact forces, higher G loads via the EPS liner itself. Let's hit some of the other details of the 6D ATR-1. First, the shell. Now the shell comes in three sizes, three different shell sizes, and the brakes are extra small, small, medium and large, extra large, and 2XL. The shell on the standard version is made of a composite mix of fiberglass and Dyneema, or also Spectra fiber. It's a lightweight composite. And on the carbon fiber version, of course, it's carbon fiber. Speaking about the interior, now, first of all, it has an emergency release system, as many high-end helmets or many helmets geared for racers have. And that means that these cheek pads are able to be pulled forward and into the front cavity of the helmet to help in situations where the person may have a neck or spine injury and the helmet needs to be removed without disturbing that. That's something that's really important. We know that firsthand. The quality of the interior liner is quite good. It's nice density to the foam. All the pieces are removable and washable. It's got a good feel to it and good density to the foam. And thicker cheek pads are available if you need a custom fit. The fit and finish of the helmet is actually quite good. The graphics are something that they take a little bit of flack for because they're kind of subtle. I like them. I think that they're nice and cool and classy, and that's because I'm a little bit of an old guy, but still I think that their graphics look really good. Other aspects of it, like the quality of the rubber pieces around here, the venting on the helmet is all very extensive and of a high quality. The fit and finish of the helmet is awesome. They have little cool details too, like titanium D-rings on it to help keep the weight down. Overall, it's a very premium piece with lots of really good details. All right, the most important part, Bomber comments on it. First of all, how it works on the motorcycle. Bomber Hopper has had two of these helmets, and he's worn them both quite a bit for off-road motorcycling, some adventure touring, even a little bit of snowmobiling. We've got a really good base of use on these and understand how they work quite well. And they are awesome. Why? Very simple. All of these passageways, all this space in between the two EPS liners, combined with the extensive vent channeling, allow a lot of airflow movement in and around your head. Pretty much no-brainer. Lots of airspace, lots of air movement. That's a good thing. The 6D vents as well as, or very close to, the benchmark for ventilation in off-road helmets, which is the Climb F4. So it's really good in that regard. The feel of it is quite good. It's very solid on your head, has a nice high quality feel to it. If there's a negative about the helmet, every product has its strengths and weaknesses. If there's a negative about it, it's that it's a little bit large and a little bit heavy. Again, this one is 3.4 pounds. There's two ways to look at it. One, that it's a little bit big and heavy, but on the other hand, this is a very different type of technology. We think of it as almost like long-term suspension. And so the fact that it is larger inside is due to the fact that the company has made a big step forward, an innovative step forward in trying to protect you. And so you should know that going in. Time for some subjective comments though on this helmet, and this is what I really was looking forward to in this video. We sell safety gear, and I know a lot of different products in safety gear follow this market for a really long time. Just about everything that protects you on a motorcycle is very derivative. It has not changed or evolved. The industry has not changed, innovated, or evolved much in the last 20 or 30 years. Everything is just iterative change of what already exists. And there are very, very few products, this being one of them, that have taken a fresh sheet approach to making you safer when you're on a motorcycle. Bob and Robert really bet the farm on it, and they knocked this out of the park. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of brain power, and we give them a lot of respect for that. We don't see enough of that in our industry, and they deserve a lot more compliments than they get. So that is our review of the 6D ATR-1 helmet. Obviously something we like, and then we're stoked to have available. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the bombers. Hope to see you out on the bike.